In this sponsored tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create an accommodation booking website using the hotel booking plugin by MotoPress. It's a super powerful plugin. It even lets you integrate with other sites like Airbnb and TripAdvisor so you don't double book dates. And that's really powerful. And that's just one of the features it has. It has so many more. We're going to go through all of them in this tutorial, or at least as many as we can. And we're going to build a complete website start to finish. And we're getting started right now. Rating is a cool little booking vacation website. Looks like this. You can use this to build a site for a hotel, for a B&B, for any kind of site where you're booking some kind of accommodation. And there's a cool little search widget comes with the plugin. You can pick the days, check in, check out, how many adults, how many children, and then it will list the options available for whatever the person selects here. And then you have listing information that you see here: vacation villa, wood house with pool, house with pool. And these are all created in the plugin. I'll show you how I walk through how to create all this stuff in the plugin, everything you see. And you can book any of these things through the plugin as well. There's payment gateways. You can accept payments. They can choose when they want to go, how many adults, how many children. There's an availability calendar showing when availability is. And then they can actually check out right on the website using the settings you create in this plugin. And this is using the MotoPress hotel booking plugin, which is a premium plugin. It's $49 for one site. It's very, very reasonable for what you can do with it. And I'm going to show you how to build this site front to back. So let's get to it. The very first thing we have to do to get started is install the plugin. And that plugin comes in the form of a zip file. It's not in the WordPress repository. It's going to be a download that you receive. There'll be a link in an email. You'll be able to download it from their website. And when you have that zip file, you can go to plugins, then add new, and then click on upload plugin. Then click on choose file, or you can drag and drop it from your desktop. It's going to drag and drop it into here. Then click on install now. And if you're doing this on a site that already exists, you already have content on there, you're going to want to back up your site files and your database before you do this. I've linked a tutorial down below in the description that shows you how to back up WordPress just in case something goes wrong. Then you can revert back to your backed up version. And this is a brand new site. Don't worry about that. Then click on activate plugin. Unless you're an advanced user, you're going to want to click on installed pages. So I'll show you shortcodes later where you can create the pages on your own and customize them. But if you install them here, this makes it a whole lot easier. If you're new to the plugin, I recommend you click on install pages. And now if I head over to pages, I'm just going to control click or command click on all pages to open that in a new tab. We see all of our pages that were added by the plugin. Privacy was added by WordPress when I installed it, and all the others were added by the plugin just now. And one is for accommodations, which is going to list all the accommodations on your site. Booking confirmation after someone books. This is the confirmation page. Cancel booking page, booking confirm page, payment success page, transaction failed page, search availability page, and search results page. We're looking at these in more detail as we go. For now, we're going to actually just start creating some listings so we actually have things to look at. Because if we go to the accommodation page right now, just going to command click here, there's going to be nothing going on because we have no accommodations on the site. And we're using the Ocean WP theme. We have no customization to the theme. And you're going to see that even without any customization to a theme like Ocean WP, this plugin still makes it look quite nice. So let's head back into here. We're going to go to accommodation. We're going to start off with categories. Then we're going to create the amenities. Then we're going to add some services. Then we're going to create an accommodation type, because those three things we're going to add to the accommodation type as we're creating accommodations. So it makes sense to do those first. And let's just click on categories to add one of those, or add multiple, I should say. And the way I would use categories is as a location. So I'm just going to call mine Vancouver, and I'm going to have no apparent accommodation category. Click on add new accommodation category. Then I'm going to add Los Angeles, and then I'm going to add Mumbai, because I know a lot of you guys are watching over there. And we'll click on add accommodation category. Now we have 3 locations, and our accommodations, or the places we're going to allow people to book, are going to be in these 3 places for this example. Now I'm going to go to amenities. Now amenities, in case you've never traveled before, these are kind of creature comforts that come with a hotel or a B&B or something like that. And quite often there'll be things like free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, clean towels. I guess that's not really amenity, it's kind of required. But maybe not, depending where you are, that might not be standard, having clean towels. Either way, this is the perks that come with the room that don't cost extra. So I'm going to have on here Wi-Fi, and I'm going to add them all the same way. So I'm going to just show you one more at regular speed, and then I'm going to just fast forward. air conditioning, and they're all the same process. I'm just going to fast forward as I add these. Okay, now I've added my amenities. I've added complimentary towels and bathrobes, and by that I mean ones you can take home. That's not very common. So that's a nice little perk that my properties offer in this example. You can take your towels and bathrobes home. So that's awesome. I'm going to also add some services by clicking on the left here. Click on services, and here they give you some examples. And these are things that you can sell or give away for free, but I think most commonly you would sell these as add-on services like a Thai massage, a transfer, babysitting. Those are all pretty awesome. And when people check out, which you're going to see later, they can actually add these to their checkout as they're checking out, which is pretty convenient. I'm going to click on Add New, and compared to the amenities and the categories, this isn't just a taxonomy, this is a custom post type where you can add some content. So I'm going to say here, car rental, and it's going to, description will be, you can prepay for a car rental. You should also add a featured image for the services, just because images are great for, especially for websites like this where people buy based on visuals. So for the featured image, I'm going to add a car for the car rental image. Seems appropriate. I just found this on a stock photo site and I tried to drag and drop it there. That was wrong. I'm going to drag and drop it in here. Let that upload. Here's our car. Select that. Now we have our featured image for this service. And at the very bottom below the editor, this is true for Gutenberg and for the classic editor, you can set a price, and I'm going to just say $100 for a car rental. And you can set whether they pay this once, whether they pay it per day, or the guest can choose once or per day, depending what it is. If it's a massage, for example, they might want to have one every day, or they might only have one. So you can let the customer choose for those cases. For the car rental, they probably, that depends too. Might be once and they rent for a whole week, might be once per day. It depends. So you let the customer choose, or you choose the one that's appropriate. And then down here, you can charge per accommodation or per guest. And an example for that would be, again, massage. If you have 5 people staying in the hotel, you probably wouldn't pay for massage per accommodation, because that would mean all 5 would get the massage. You probably use that as per guest. And for the car rental, that would probably be per accommodation. So I'm going to keep that as per accommodation for the car rental. Click on publish. And we're not going to take a look at this just yet. Actually, I am, because I'm curious. I'm going to control click on that view post to see our service in action. And here's our car rental service. Here are the options. We pay once. We don't have any payment gateways set up yet, so we can't pay and check out through here. The comment box is active. You can turn that off by going to discussion, unchecking allow comments, update, refresh, and now there are no comments allowed. Now I'm going to add a couple more services, going to do the exact same process. I'm going to add massage and a conference room booking. So I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward as I do that. So I unpaused it here because I choose per guest choice for the periodicity for the conference room booking. So you can choose to have it once, twice, or however many times. And we can actually limit it by the length of their stay. So if they were booking a conference room, maybe you only allow one conference room to be booked per person per day. And so you choose the length of their stay as the maximum value. So they're staying 5 days, they can book it 5 times. Or you uncheck this. You can set a number in here for the maximum, or if you leave it blank, it's going to be unlimited. There's a couple different options there. And I'm going to choose length of stay, minimum is 1, and publish. Hang on, I'm going to set a featured image. These guys right here, publish and publish. And now we have our services. I'm going to close out of this, going to refresh this page so we can see our 3 services listed here. And they're all different prices. They all have different options. And that's how we do services. Now I'm going to add accommodation type by clicking on accommodation type. Once we add accommodation types, they're going to be listed under accommodation types. So just click on add if you don't have any yet. And we see another custom post type, just like the services were. And I'm going to call this one house with pool. You might be wondering why a hotel booking site rents out houses. Well, this is a new age hotel booking site where they also own individual properties that they're renting out. So this house has a pool. That's excellent. The number of accommodations. Actually, let me back up first. Accommodation type is kind of a vague term. Basically, it means anything that people can book as an accommodation. So it could be a hotel room, a house, an apartment, Airbnb type of thing, a couch in your living room. It could be your bedroom floor, anything you want to rent out to have someone stay there. That would be the accommodation type. And we give it a name because this is going to be a house with a pool. And the number of accommodations is the number of accommodations of this type in this example in your hotel. So if you had, for example, a double room, how many double rooms are in your hotel? And you might have 5, might have 10, might have 1, might have 20. But for this case, we only have one house with a pool. This is an individual house. We only have one of these houses. Just going to keep this at 1. Capacity for this house is going to be 4 adults and 4 children. Square meters. In Canada, we don't work in square meters, believe it or not. Even though we're on the metric system, we work on square feet. Anyway, let's just say it's 600 square meters. That seems pretty large for a house. Does it have a view? I don't know, but it's got a swimming pool. Definitely has a view of the swimming pool. So the bed type we haven't set up yet because we haven't been into the settings. We're going to go through all the settings in just a little bit. So let's actually just do the bed type settings for now. I'm going to command click on there to open that in a new tab. Then I'm going to scroll down. Like I said, we'll go through all these later on. Click on bed type under bed types to add a bed type. So I'm going to add a king size bed, queen bed. That sounds better. King bed, queen bed. Double bed, single bed, and of course the circular rotating bed. No house is complete without one of these. Scroll to the very bottom, click on Save Changes. Now I'm going to head back to our accommodation here. I'm going to save the draft, then refresh this page so it'll pull in the new bed types here. So let's refresh. Now that it's saved, scroll down. Now we have a bed type from the drop down, and we can choose one bed type because this is a per room type booking setup. So we can add in the description. Now we have more beds and more rooms because this is a house. So we add that in the description. Under available services, I'm going to say there are spa treatments and a car rental available with this accommodation. For the featured image, I'm going to add this one. This is going to be the main image that's shown throughout the site in the search results, in the accommodations listings, and the primary image of this post as well. And we also have the ability to add a photo gallery down at the very bottom. And this photo gallery would be non-primary images, so other images of that location. We're going to add this one and this one to the photo gallery. Not the biggest photo gallery in the world, but at least it's something. And then we're going to add our categories. This house is located in Vancouver. The amenities it offers: Wi-Fi, air conditioner, king size bed, all of these. You get all of them with this place. And that is really all we have to do for that listing. Let's click on publish and then publish again. Let's click on view post to take a look at it. And now we have our very nice little post for booking this house with a pool. All the information about it, the availability. When someone, we're going to set this up in a little bit, but when someone books this location, that will be removed from the availability, which is what you'd want. And right now we have the discussion enabled, so let's turn that off. Don't allow comments. Click on update. So now the discussion is gone, and I'm going to do the same process for our other 2 locations, which is the one in Los Angeles, the other one in Mumbai, so that we have 3 listings. I'm just going to fast forward through that so you can see the steps, but I'm not going to talk through it because it's the same stuff essentially. So let's add another type, and now I'm fast forwarding. Now I have all 3 of those postings done, those accommodations done. Let's view this post, and it's going to look a lot like the one we just saw. Needs some sprucing up. Now, like I said, we're going to do a bit of that later, but you can do it more quickly because MotoPress actually has themes created that are specific for this plugin. And so using OceanWP, which I know a lot of you have, you can do it that way and spruce it up, or a lot of these themes that they have just look nicer out of the box. And I'll quickly show you one of the themes. So if I go back over here to someplace in the admin and then go to Appearance and Themes, the second theme I have installed here is Oceanica Light, and that's a free theme that MotoPress creates. They also have premium themes. They even have a premium version of this one, but the free version, if we just activate this and then come out to our page here and refresh, it instantly looks quite a bit better because this theme is created for this plugin. It's created to look like a booking theme. And so it looks a lot better right out of the gate. You can also do more to spruce it up with this theme, but it looks better as a starting point. And this MotoPress plugin and all these widgets, like the accommodation listings, the search widget, which we haven't seen yet, the accommodation information like we have on this page, that is all included in widgets that tie into Elementor. And there's also some that tie into Divi. And there's separate plugins for those. They're linked to in the description down below. And then you can create these pages with Elementor and Divi, and you can definitely spruce them up a lot quicker using those plugins. Now, let's get back to our accommodations. We've created all our accommodations. We have the locations, the amenities, the services. Now we want to have some rates. And the great thing with this plugin is you can set seasons. So under the seasons tab here, we can define high season, low season, on season, off season, whatever you want to call them, powder season if it's a ski hill, or whatever you want to call it. You can define parts of the year where things cost more or cost less. So let's just go into the seasons tab here, click on add new. I'm going to call this high season, and the slug will be high season, start date, sure, March 1st to, let's say, August 31st. And it's going to be all days. As you can see, you can choose different sets of days, whatever set of days you want. And I'm going to choose all the days. Click on publish. Now I'm also going to add a low season, which is just going to be the rest of the months of the year. So from September 1st to February 28th, 29th on a leap year. I wonder if the plugin will handle that, or if there'll be just one day that's not included in any season. That'd be interesting. This is going to be low season and low season start date. Okay, let's see, September 1st to February 29th. Is 2020 a leap year? It must be. Okay, check all the days again. Click on publish. Now that we have our season set, let's set our rates. Click on rates on the left. Click on add new. For the name of the rate, I'm just going to call this standard. This will make more sense in just a minute. Let's call this standard. Accommodation type. I'm going to pick which one this is for. House with pool. And now we have to select the type, which we did, and then click on create rate to continue. So let's click on there, and then we'll continue. I'm going to add a new season price right here. I'm going to call it high season. This is the 4 adults and 4 children is set in the accommodation type itself. You can enable variable pricing if you want, depending on the number of children, number of adults. I'm just going to have one set price because it's one residence, it's one location. So I'm just going to say for the high season, it's going to cost $250 a night. I think that's fairly cheap. And I'm going to have a low season price. And I'm going to call that, or make that $200. And now we have our season pricing set up. When we set up the seasons, they didn't overlap. They started when the other ended and vice versa. But sometimes you might run into situations where the seasons overlap. So maybe you have wine season pricing, which overlaps with your high season pricing. So when that overlap occurs and someone is there looking to book for a day where there's an overlapping season, the one that takes priority is the one that's at the top of this list. So you can drag and drop this up. So the low season, if there's overlap between low and high season in the calendar that we set, then low season would take priority for any days that there's an overlap. In this case, if I put high season back on top, then high season will take priority. So that's why you can drag and drop these things. I'm going to click on update rate, and now I'm going to click on duplicate rate to add another one for house with pool. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's because I'm going to add an upsell. So if I go into here, click on edit for the copy, I'm going to call this standard with gourmet breakfast. If you recall, free breakfast was included for most of these locations, but now we're going to upsell them to a gourmet breakfast if that's what they want. And who wouldn't, right? So gourmet breakfast for the slug, house with pool, everything stays the same. High season, low season all stays the same. We're just going to up the price. And this is an expensive breakfast. It's going to add $100 to each of these. Bam, look at that. $350, $300 for high and low season. Update rate. And now if we head out to our house with pool listing and refresh, the design will change because we changed the theme. We didn't actually refresh on this page. We refreshed the villa or the villa, depending where you're from. Here it shows prices start at $250 per night. So that's pretty nice. Reservation form. We can choose when we want to check in, choose when to check out, choose the number of adults, number of children, check availability, and we'll be able to actually check out and pick more prices when we add in our payment gateways. In fact, let's check out those payment gateways right now. So let's go back to here under accommodation, go to settings. Before I get there, quick comment on language. This plugin has been professionally translated into 14 different languages. So there's definitely a lot of language options. Obviously 14 is not all the languages on the planet, but all the popular ones, not popular, all the most commonly used ones on the planet are likely translatable. Definitely English is available, so we're doing it in English right now. But check out those languages if you want to see if your language or your preferred language is available. I'm going to click on settings because that's where we're going to check out some of the settings and add our payment gateway. Before we get distracted with everything else, let's check out payment gateways. In the general settings under payment gateways, we can select how a user will pay. So are they going to pay the full amount as they check out, or are they just going to give a deposit? And if it's a deposit, is it going to be a fixed amount or percentage? You decide. So the fixed amount, if you have fixed, this would be the amount. That'd be $10 or 10, whatever the currency is that you set. The currency is set under general. We'll check that out in a minute. If you choose percentage, this will be 10%. Do you want to force SSL for the checkout? Yes, you do, because you want people to feel they're secure. You want them to be secure when they're actually checking out on your site. And a lot of payment gateways are going to require you to use SSL. Payment success page, that was one of the pages that the plugin auto-created. Failed transaction, another one auto-created. Default gateway, we don't have any set up yet, but we can choose a default one. So when they're checking out, that'll be the one at the very top, and they can choose other ones depending how many of these you have set up. Pay on arrival, that's not a gateway. That's not a gateway. That's them actually paying on arrival. PayPal, to checkout, Stripe, Braintree, Beanstream, Bombora are built into the plugin. You can add more using WooCommerce payments. Pending payment time, this is the period of time in minutes the user is given to complete payment. Unpaid bookings become abandoned and the accommodation status becomes available. So once someone starts the checkout process, that accommodation at that time will be taken off the site as available, which is important because if you have a busy website, you might have two people on the same listing at the same time, possibly booking at the same time. They might be double booked, and that's not ideal. So choose those settings how you want them. Click on Save Changes. And speaking of double bookings, something I mentioned at the very beginning was that this plugin synchronizes with OTAs, online travel agencies, like Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Airbnb. So you can have your listings in all those places, and they sync back to this site, and this site syncs to them. So if anybody books on any one of those sites, or they book on your site, that option, that day, or that set of days that were booked become unavailable to book on any of those sites, which is kind of a no-brainer. That's kind of a must-have feature if you have one listing on multiple websites, but it's not an easy feature to program. So it's pretty awesome that that's built right into this plugin. So I'm going to go to Pay on Arrival. I'm going to check this box to enable Pay on Arrival because a lot of people want to do that. A lot of people are old school. I do this sometimes, especially for a bed and breakfast type of place or an Airbnb. I sometimes rather pay on arrival. Click on Save Changes to enable that. I'm going to click over to PayPal. I'm going to click on Enable. All these checkout types, all these payment gateways, they have an Enable button. If you don't check that, they won't actually be enabled. No matter what you put down below, it won't be enabled unless you check that box. So here you have your PayPal business email, which I'm just going to enter right now as this one. Click on Save Changes. Now I'm going to go back to General Settings under the Payment Gateways tab. And under Default Gateway, I'm going to select PayPal because even though some people like to pay on arrival, I prefer them to pay with PayPal and have everything cleared up before they arrive. It's easier for them, easier for us. It's perfect. Click on Save Changes. Now I'm just going to head out here to this listing and refresh the page. And we're going to go through what a user may go through in order to book this spot. So we have our nice pictures and everything. Looks great. Wonderful. Availability looks pretty clear. That's great. Now I want to actually book this thing. So let's say I want to book from May 1st to just a nice little 2-week period. Click on for one adult, just me. Check availability. So here we have accommodation, 1 house with pool, max occupancy, which we set in the listing earlier. This is how much it's going to cost for those 2 weeks. I think it's 16 days. Yeah, 16 days. So this, of course, adds up whatever that price is in whatever season we're currently in. And this is booking in May. So it's going to be in the high season pricing for this location. Shows some more pictures, some more information down below. We can book right here. It shows the price for 15 nights, which is how many nights we set. Now we can also click on reserve here. I'm going to do that. Now we're going to see some of the upsells that we had earlier. So I'm going to check 1 adult, 4 children total are allowed. I'm going to select 0 because this is a required field. Guest name, Bjorn, that's me. Standard rate, or do I want gourmet breakfast? I think I want the gourmet breakfast. Quite the increased price, but hey, it's gourmet breakfast. You got to pay for what you get. You get what you pay for. Spa treatments, I probably need at least 4 spa treatments. Car rental. And now this price keeps going up and up and up because I keep adding more things. And now I fill in this form and then I actually go to book now. I'm not going to book now because I don't have that kind of money on hand. So I'm going to go into the back end and we are going to pretend we're taking some phone calls and booking via the phone. So if we go to bookings over here, and then first we're going to go to calendar. And this shows the availability for all of the accommodations that are into the plugin. And there's no limit to the number of accommodations you can have built into here. So you could have a lot of information here potentially. So someone calls you on the phone and they say, I want to book vacation villa on March 8th and 9th. And you check to see if that's free, and it currently is. They'd be colored as these colors, so blocked. Those are days that you actually turn off, so you're not allowed to book those spots on those days. Pending is a booking that's currently in progress, and booked is a booking that is booked. So March 8th and 9th are available. If we go over to all bookings, and now keep in mind we're on the phone with these people because some people want to talk on the phone when they're booking things. So I'm going to click on new booking as I'm on the phone with them. I'm going to choose my dates. March 8th and 9th aren't available because it turns out, now that I think about it, it's March 29th today. So obviously those aren't available anymore. I'm going to click on April 2nd and 12th. Check-in, check-out date. The accommodation type, you're going to have to pick one that's accepting bookings because we set the, let's see, what was it called? Accommodation and rates for house with pool. We did not set rates for house or wood house with pool or vacation villa. So those are not yet available to book in this way. So we have to choose one that's bookable. I'm going to choose 1 adult, 2 adults, 2 children. Click on search. This is also going to check to make sure there's availability at that time. And 1 accommodation found in that time period, house with pool. 4 adults, 4 children, that's going to be the price. Click on that checkbox, click on reserve. And now, while we have them on the phone, we're going to have to enter this for some reason. Would have been nice if that auto-populated. Now we have to enter their name. So let's just call this me. Standard price or gourmet breakfast. Do gourmet breakfast, obviously. Spa and car rental, obviously. Totals updated here. I have to fill in some information here and perfect. Click on book now. And now we have our first booking. And we can go in here and edit things as we need instantly, or we can go through to all bookings and see where this booking exists in there and edit it. It shows a log of all the information that's happened. Approved booking email was sent to customer. Status changed from auto draft to confirmed. Status changed from new to auto draft. Went from top to bottom. Or sorry, bottom to top was the order those emails were sent. Those actions were done. At the very bottom, so because we're talking to these guys on the phone, they did not check out through a payment gateway on the website. They have not paid anything. They have not paid a deposit, not paid anything at all. There's two ways you go about doing this. One is they pay when they show up, and that's how it quite often works. Or if you have a merchant account or a payment gateway that allows you to accept payments or to process credit cards via the phone, where you can take a credit card number on the phone, you can input it into your merchant account online and charge their credit card through that service that you're using. I have a PayPal account that allows me to do that. There's a lot of them out there that allow that. So if you've done it that way, click on Add Payment Manually to show that it's been paid. So that's how you'd manage on the phone bookings. And if we head over to Calendar now and go to next month, we see that we have booked House with Pool from April 2nd to April 12th. And 49 is the ID for that booking. So if we go over to all bookings, here we have booking number 49. And like I said, it's the booking ID that shows up on the calendar. So that calendar will fill up and be all nicely color coded depending on what's booked and when. So if you're booking manually over the phone, you can always go in and see when the availability is. And that availability, like I mentioned earlier, will show up on the website on the listings themselves because they all have these handy calendars right here. And if we go back to this one, let's just go back to this one, refresh the page. Now we have these red areas, redded out, I guess is what you'd call that. So those areas are now booked, and that's updated as soon as it happens so people can see what the availability is. And there's no legend telling you what red is and what green is, but if you hover over them, you see that red is booked and green is available. It would be good to have that somewhere else because people might not know to hover over those things. Anyhow, they can see availability on that calendar. And if you're using Airbnb or another OTA out there, you can sync with them. And that slot will be booked on their end. And you set that up with the sync calendars. Let's click on there to check that out. So the way the syncing works is you're actually syncing the calendars. So when you are using Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Airbnb, every location, every accommodation you rent has its own calendar. So you would input your calendar, which is this one here, into Airbnb, for example. And in Airbnb, for your vacation villa, you would have its calendar from the Airbnb version. That'll be listed as an external calendar. Click on Edit or Import Calendar, and you add the calendar, and then you sync the calendars, and then they'll be synced. And that will make your life a whole lot easier. Some other important stuff, taxes and fees. Here you can set any applicable taxes and fees for your area. If you're not sure what they are, contact your accountant or an accountant, and they will help you figure out what your taxes and fees should be. Booking rules are quite handy. Here you can set the check-in days. So if for whatever reason your locations only allow people to check in on, let's unselect all. So only on Mondays can you check into House with Pool in the high season. Very specific. Then you click on Done, and you have this rule that you can only check in to this accommodation on Mondays in the high season. You can add another rule. You have a whole bunch of rules, as many as you need. Most places, I think you can check in any day, at least hotels. And I guess any place really, because they want people to rent the place, so you don't want to make it so restrictive like I have here. Anyway, check-in days, check-out days. If you need to have rules for those, you can. Minimum stay, usually one night, I guess would be the minimum, but maybe you want people to stay longer. Maybe 2 or 3 nights is the minimum stay. You can set the minimum stay here. You can set the maximum stay, so you want them clearing out as quickly as possible. You can set the maximum stay. When I was booking my manual booking earlier, this maximum stay rule limited me to 15 nights. I initially wanted to stay for the whole month, but only 15 nights were available because of this rule. And block accommodation, this is where you can just block off accommodation for whatever time period. And this might be if one of your spots is having a renovation, or if there's some kind of infestation, some kind of exterminator coming in to get rid of all the bugs, or who knows what's going on. But you can block accommodation times, and this would be times when it's not bookable. This isn't just like Christmas season is high season and it's going to be fully booked kind of thing. This is a time when that spot is not bookable by anybody. You can set that here. Coupons, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. You can create coupons by clicking on Add New. You can create, let's say, a Valentine's Day coupon. Call it V-Day. You can set it as a percentage or fixed per accommodation per stay, fixed per accommodation per day. You can set the amount. You can set specific places that this applies to. You click on them individually, or you hold down Control or Command click so you can select multiple. You can have an expiration date for the coupon. Probably after Valentine's Day for this one would be a good expiration date. This coupon is going to be valid if they check in after and check out before certain times. Set the minimum number of days, set all kinds of stuff in here, and you can create that coupon. Now I'm just going to click on Publish and then head back out to Coupons. And this coupon is now set up and available and applies to all those listings automatically. So it's not a coupon where you define a certain keyword and then they copy and paste it into a coupon field. This is applied to whatever listings you set and whatever date range you set when we set up the coupon, and then that's just applied automatically. So the next thing we want to go through, actually the almost last thing, is the settings. So let's head over to settings. We're here before. Let's finish off what we started. Under the General tab, we can set our search results page, which was created by the plugin. The checkout page, which we saw already. Booking confirmation. Terms and conditions. We don't have that page created yet, so you might want to create a terms and conditions page. It's not created by the plugin. You have to write your own terms, and they can create that or select that page here once it's created. Booking confirmation. This is how the customer is confirmed when they book. So they can be confirmed, or they can confirm via email. So they get an email, they click a link, that'll confirm their booking. The admin can confirm them manually, which is you or the person running the site. And confirmation upon payment is the last option. Confirmation page they're sent to after they've done one of those three things is the booking confirm page. This is how much time the people are given to confirm after they've booked. So if you have this set to customer confirms via email, but say they don't have access to the email right now, it takes them half an hour to get in here, they only have 20 minutes. So if they do not click that link in 20 minutes, their booking will be abandoned and it's going to be available again on the website. So you might want to set this to what you think is appropriate, but maybe not everybody can confirm their email right away. I think in most cases, most people can, but you just never know. And there's a lot of other settings in here. They're pretty well explained and self-explanatory, a lot of them. So I'm not going to go into detail for every single one, because otherwise this video will go on all day long. Here's something that's very important for synchronizing calendars with those external OTAs we talked about earlier. So we want to enable automatic external calendar synchronization. You want to sync them at a certain time of day, and a good time I think might be in the middle of the night, might not be. You choose what time of day you want to sync them, and you sync them once daily, once hourly, twice daily. Really depends on how much you're booking. But keep in mind that if you choose once hourly, that is a process that's going to be running on your server every single hour. That might slow down your site. If you have a lot of bookings that need to be synced, these processes might slow down your site a little bit. So keep that in mind. So choose what's appropriate for you there. The block editor, Gutenberg, enable block editor for accommodation types, enable block editor for services. So you can set those things. And when we did accommodation types and services earlier, we saw that Gutenberg was enabled for that. And so we didn't actually need to set that. Admin emails. These are the emails that are sent to the admin when actions happen. And they're all very well explained. You can add in shortcodes to customize the emails, or tags they're called here. And these are all the emails that are, again, sent to the admin when certain things happen to give you information or let you know that things have happened. Customer emails, those are ones that are emailed to the customer. Same idea as the admin emails. You can customize all the templates by adding these tags, and you can give them all the information they need once these actions have happened. And they're all labeled quite nicely. So you can customize those as needed. The stock ones are pretty good, but again, you can customize them as you see fit. Email settings. These are the settings of emails being sent out. So the administrator email is pulled from the settings in general. The from name is the name of the websites that are settings in general. Same with the footer text from settings in general. This is just the site name. So all these things you customize based on how you see fit. And that'll be the sender of the email, of the admin emails and the customer emails. So this would be who the customer sees the email coming from. So you want to set those to be customer friendly. Payment gateways we saw earlier. Extensions. We currently don't have any extensions installed for this plugin, but there are quite a few of them. Let's just check out the MotoPress website. Hotel booking add-ons. I've linked to here in the description down below as well. So there's 3 different add-ons you can buy. Hotel booking WooCommerce payments, hotel booking reviews, hotel booking payment request. And the price range depends on whether you want to do it for one site or unlimited sites. And there's a 15% discount coupon in the description down below. The coupon is WP Learning Lab. If you want to buy this plugin or any of these add-ons, you get a 15% discount by buying it through that link. And something else while I'm here, let's just look at the plugin itself, just so I can quickly show you what the price is. So the price is $49 for one site and $199 for unlimited. So we click into hotel booking. So this is the sales page and the feature page for the hotel booking. And we see that a single site license is $49, which is really inexpensive for what you can do with it. And unlimited sites is $199. If you go to purchase and then checkout, we have it in our cart. We can add the add-ons we saw a minute ago. Just clicking add to cart. And discount code, if we type in here, WP Learning Lab, and hit apply, then scroll to the top, we see that we get 15% off, so it's down to $41.65. So if you are interested in this plugin, make sure you use the coupon code, because you'd be silly not to. 15% off, why not? Let's go back to settings. So when you have the extensions installed, you have the extensions listed in here, and license information is just a license for the plugin. And really, we have covered now, in this large amount of time, pretty much everything to do with setting up accommodations, creating the categories, creating the amenities, creating the rates, the seasons, the services, how to book on the phone, how to book on the website, how to set up payment gateways, and all the settings. The last thing we have to do to make a functioning website that people can use is create pages on that site. We've created listings and accommodations and checkout processes, but we don't have things like the home page or services, which we created under the services tab over here. So we want to create those things and link them all together, and then have a page that people can actually use and would want to use. So right now, if we go to the home page, let's just go check out how that looks. It doesn't look great. So we have some work to do here. And luckily, we have some shortcodes to help us. So a lot of the functionality that you get in the plugin can be assigned to pages using shortcodes. For example, the search form. You can just add to a page with a shortcode. The availability calendar, search results. And some of these are already in pages that the plugin created at the very beginning. So you don't have to create pages for each one of these. Some of them are already in pages. You have rooms for listing types, services listing, single accommodation type, checkout form, booking form, accommodation rates list, booking confirmation. All these things can be used to create individual pages, or you can put multiple on the same page. So I have installed the Elementor plugin. So we're going to create some pages using Elementor. So let's go to pages, and then all pages, see what we have. And these are all the pages that the plugin created, privacy policy WordPress created when we installed it, but all the rest were created by the plugin when we installed the plugin. And the ones that are missing, in my opinion, are the home page and the services page, which the plugin can't really define for you. Like, these are pretty common pages every site will have. Maybe not every site has a home page. Maybe the home page is just a listing of the accommodations, which would be the accommodations page. So they don't presume what you need. So they don't just add pages that you might need when they're not sure you do. These are pages you're going to need for sure on any website. So that's why they've added them. So we're going to add 2 new ones using Elementor. It's going to be the home page and the services page. Let's change this to a full width template. And if you don't want to use Elementor, some of the paid themes that MotoPress has, they do awesome stuff for displaying content on these websites, and they do a great job at making the site look really pretty. But if you don't have a MotoPress theme to do that, things like Divi and Elementor will help you get that done. First thing I'm going to do is add a new section, And I'm going to add a heading to that and change it to book your next dream vacation. I'm going to center it, change the text color to black, change the typography to Open Sans, make it a bit bigger. There we go. And then under the section settings, the 6 dots, I'm going to make this full width and stretch it. Go to Advanced, go to Style instead, add a background image to the section, not the headline, to the section. Insert that, and now our background image takes up the width of, or the height and width of the section. We want to make the section a bit bigger. So go back to Layout, change the height to minimum height, and we can set a minimum height that we want it to be. I set mine to about this. And this image is not big enough to fit the entire width of the screen as it is, so it's repeating over here. We can turn that off by choosing under Style, Repeat, No Repeat, and then Size, Cover. And that moves it to the full size. It's a little pixelated, but I'm okay with that. It's not that bad. And I'm going to move this headline just up a little bit because it's not right in the middle, I don't think. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. First, I'm going to try adding some padding on the bottom. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works to move it up. You can do it with negative margin too, but I don't like using negative margin unless I really have to, because if you use too many negative margins, things start to get really weird and stuff interacts, and it's hard to figure out what problems are when problems arise when you use a lot of negative margins. And it's hard to figure out where the problems are coming from when problems arise if you're using negative margins, but when you're using just padding, it makes life a lot easier. That said, we're going to add a new section down below and use negative margin. So let's add a new section, and this is where the search widget is going to go. So I'm going to add a short code, drag and drop that in here, and then go back to our shortcodes page and find search, which is at the very top. Copy this, paste it in here, and now we have our search widget. It's vertical right now. We're going to add some CSS down the road to make it horizontal, because I like that a lot better. But for now, let's just get this into position. Click on these 6 dots. We're going to move this whole thing up using negative margin. And that's not quite far enough. 200, it's too far. Let's try 150. That should do. Under Style, let's set a background color. Let's make it white. There we go. Let's undo that actually. We're going to add a background color not to this section, but to, because that section background color, it made everything white across the whole width. I don't want it like that. I want to have it, so I will show you. Advanced, background, color. There. Instead of being all white all the way across, we can now see the background image on the sides, and that's what I wanted. I'm going to add some padding to keep this text from touching the exact edge of the white. Let's go into here, just going to add 20 pixels of padding. And now we have our search box in place. We still have the CSS style, so it's horizontal, like I said, but the box is there. And that is a pretty solid header once this is horizontal, I think. So I have to change the menu, which we'll do as well. Last thing I'm going to add on this page, on the home page, is another full-size section with some of our listings. Right now there's only 3 on the website, so I'm going to add 3. But you might have more, as many as you like, or not at all, depending how you want to make it. But I'm going to add 3. So I'm going to add an inner section to this. And that adds columns. I'm going to right-click on this little icon, add a new column. So now I have 3 columns, horizontal. I'm going to go back to the shortcodes. And I'm going to get this shortcode right here. Copy that. Add a shortcode. Drag and drop that in there. Paste that shortcode. And now we have a listing with all this information. And this information can be turned on and off with parameters in the shortcode. Turn off the title, turn on or off the title, featured image, gallery, excerpt, details, price, view button, book button, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to use one of those right now because this shortcode lists all of our accommodations unless we set an ID. So I'm going to add a space right there. Go to shortcodes, get the parameter for ID, which is IDS, which is IDs. So IDS equals quotes. Now I have to find the ID of this specific accommodation. So if we go back into our site here, go to command click on accommodation types to open that in a new tab. Now for the villa, the ID is 41. The wood house with pool, it's 39. And the house with pool is 36. So 41, 39, 36. You can refer back and forth, but I just want to do this in one segment. So I'm just going to remember those. 41 for the villa, and we see that all the rest are gone now. I'm just going to copy and paste. Let's try that again. Copy and paste. And paste. Click on here to change the shortcode to 39 and change this one to 36. As we can see, this one's not pulling in the featured image for some reason. Have to look into why that is. Maybe the featured image isn't assigned to the accommodation type properly. And this one is pulling in the gallery. So it's got a whole bunch of images. We may not want to have it display that way. So you may want to customize the settings again on the accommodation types page on these pages to make these guys appear how you want them to. But I'm going to leave those as they are for now. And we are going to save this homepage. Let's publish it. Then we're going to do the services page, which is going to be really quick, more shortcodes, and then do the menu, and then do the CSS for the search form. So here we have what's going to be our services page. Going to change the layout to full width. Go to our shortcodes, find our services listings right here. Copy that. Now I'm going to add the same header as over here actually. I'm just going to copy this section. And I'm going to paste it. I'm going to create a section and then paste it right there. And delete that section up there. There we go. Change this headline to, say, just services. Nice and easy. I'm going to change the height of this element. It doesn't have to be so tall on interior pages. I'm going to set the padding of this guy back to 0. Yeah, back to 0. I'm going to change the background where it's positioned so it moves up a little bit. So if we go to style and then position, and let's make it center, see how that looks around the air conditioner, so that's not great. Let's do bottom center with the pool. It's not great either. Maybe it's not quite the right image for that. Just gonna keep it how it is at default, which is top center. And then I'm gonna add a shortcode for the services. Add a section, find the shortcode widget, drag and drop that in there. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before where I added the 3 columns. In fact, now that I said that, let's just make life easy. Let's just copy this section. Let's just paste it. Right there. Delete that section. Now we've changed these shortcodes to the services shortcode, and we have to find the IDs of our services. So it's going to be the same IDS parameter for our IDs. Let's just do the first one and get it how we want it. IDs equal, go to services. And now when we hover over these, we don't see the IDs right in our view right here, but it is at the bottom of the page. You can see there's a post equals in the URL at the bottom left. Post equals 34 for this one, 33 for this one, and 23 for this one. So let's add those in. Let's change this one to I see what I did. I was confused there for a minute. I was messing around on the wrong page. Let's change this back to what it was. This was a downfall of too many tabs open. Sometimes you're making changes on the wrong pages. So IDs equal 23. That's 32. 23 for our car rental. Let's copy and paste this into here and change this to 33. And then do the same thing for this one. Change it to 34. And now we have our services listed right here. I'm just gonna publish this page. And I believe the other one's published too. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we have a homepage created. We just have to assign it to be the actual homepage. If we refresh here, even though we created our homepage, WordPress does not know that's our homepage. So if we go into the WordPress admin, then go to settings, and then go to reading, then we change this option to static page, and we select Elementor 65. We have to change that name as our homepage. And if you select a post page, that will be the page that displays all your posts. So if you're adding posts like a blog, you'd add a page here. But if you're not going to have a blog, don't worry about this. Let's click on Save Changes. Let's update the names of these pages. Go to the settings. Let's call this is the home page, correct? Yes, it's the home page. I'm just going to call this what I called the headline. No, I'm not. I'm going to call this vacation booking. Let's call it that. Update. For the services, go to the gear. Call this one services. Update. Now once these are updated, which this one now is, if I go back to reading, it will update the name in here, so you don't have to worry about updating this again in reading. Just going to refresh and you'll see the new name appear there. There's the new name right there. And now if we go out to our homepage and refresh, we now have our homepage here. Very snazzy. Super easy to do with short codes. Now we want to fix our menu system up here. The easiest way is usually to go into Appearance and then Customize. If we go to Site Identity, or even just click on this pencil up here, it'll take you to here, and we're going to call this Vacation Booking. I'm not going to have a tagline. You can add a logo for a lot of themes. This one you can if you rather have a logo instead of the site title. Just going to keep the site title. I'm going to add menus, create a new menu. I'm going to call this main menu. Check the primary, which sometimes you don't know where this will go until you actually save it. But luckily you can then just check a different box if you want somewhere else. So I think the primary is going to go at the top. Primary means main. I think it's the main. But I have header left and header right as well, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Let's click on next and see what happens. Let's add some menu items to this menu. Let's add vacation booking and services and perhaps accommodations. There we go. Let's add those. And now we see them over here. We don't see services. Why is services not on there? Let's publish it and look on the front end. Oh, there it is now. So now we have services. So now we have a more customized header with our links. We can change the vacation booking to just say homepage. Let's do that. That'll make a bit more sense. Click on the down arrow, click on navigation label, or click into the navigation label field and change it to home. And that will just say home now, which makes more sense. Refresh out here. Now if we click on services, we see our services listed here. Click on accommodations. We have our accommodations listed. Services still has, we changed the title of the page, but we didn't change the slug. Inside of Elementor, you couldn't do that. So let's just change that slug. Go to pages, all pages. So our services page is right down here. If we click on quick edit, we can change the slug right here. Just change it to services. Click on update. And now when we're on this page on the live site, it's going to return a 404 because this page is now gone. But if we click on the services link here, it will take us to the services page with the new URL. If you have a live site that's already live on the internet, you're going to want to create a 301 redirect from that old URL to this new one. And I've linked to the tutorial in the description down below to help you do that. If this site is not live yet, it doesn't matter. So make sure you have all your URLs set before your site's live and potentially indexed in a search engine so that you don't have any 404s like that. And the very last thing I want to handle is making this search area horizontal. Now, some of you guys aren't going to like this because it's going to be CSS. In some of the themes that MotoPress offers, they have the CSS built into the theme to make this horizontal and nicely laid out. But this isn't one of those themes. This is their theme. It's a light version though, so they don't have that CSS in here. But I'm going to show you how to add that CSS to the customizer and have it applied to the search boxes to make them horizontal. And luckily for most cases, it's just going to be copy and paste. So we're going to head into the home page again and make sure we've added a class to this shortcode. We go to the content here. We have to add a class. I'm going to call it search because that makes sense. And then click on update. And go back into the customizer, appearance, and then customize. We're just going to copy and paste some code. And this code is going to be in the description down below. And if I can't get it in there because YouTube blocks some characters in the descriptions, it's going to be in the comments. And if I can't get it in there, it's going to be on a blog post that's linked to in the description. So it's going to be somewhere where you can get this code and copy and paste it. You can head into additional CSS. And we have this box right here. We're just going to paste in the code. And now we have our search box horizontal. This is not quite right. Let's adjust that really quick. Do that while you're watching. Could be a lot of fun. Let's just copy that. That's the class selector for that search box. Now I'm going to add some margin to the top, and hopefully that will move it down. And it does. So let's change that to 20, 30, too many, 28. There. There we go. So this code will be somewhere that you can find. You can just copy and paste it, and then boom, you're done. As long as you added search in here as the class for the availability search widget. If you don't add that search parameter, some of this will work. So this part will still work. This part won't, and it's going to look like this. We have this background coming through because when you float elements, stuff gets crazy. So you have to clear the float, and that's what the search parameter does, or this CSS selector applied to the search class does. And that is how we do it. And now, after we save this, we go to our home page, refresh, and now we have a fully functioning booking website that people can use to book your accommodations. So if you think any of this is valuable at all, make sure you go check out this plugin. It's called MotoPress. Let's go to their page again, motopress.com. And then plugins. I've linked directly. It's actually right down below there. I saw it. It's actually linked directly in the description down below. But this is the plugin page here. And you can read some more of the advanced features it has and integrations it has. But it's very fairly priced for the amount of stuff it can do. $49 for a single site. If you have an active accommodation, you'll make this back in a few bookings, if not just the first booking. You'll be able to make this back. So this plugin is very fairly priced. So if you're interested, make sure you check it out. So that's how it works. I hope this video helps you. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click subscribe and then ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And next up is clicking this video up here where I show you how to build a complete business website. If you like full website builds, that's one to check out. And down here is a video that YouTube thinks you should watch. And until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.